in America, we seem to just talk about the nuclear family.
Yeah.
It's like, mom and dad and the kids, and
that's it.
And that's it. I think that is not a healthy perspective. What are your opinions about that?
That's true. And I'm glad that I guess I'm from an Italian family, because that's not how we were taught.
Right.
Everybody was important. And when grandmother got to the point where she wasn't able to travel, one of my aunts took her in.
Right.
And all of the siblings paid for her to quit her job and to take care of her to the day of her death.
Wow.
That's how I was raised.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Right.
And it's like my friend that's in Texas, that's grandson's here. That grandson has been sneaking around with a cell phone trying to talk to her.
Wow.
He is so desperate to talk to her and his dad.
Right.
And somehow in the last couple of weeks, the phone has disappeared. So the mother must have found out. But children shouldn't have to do that.
They should not have to do that.
He doesn't have any family in Oklahoma.
Right.
He's in Enid, but he has no family except the woman, the mom, and whoever the stepdad is. So this grandmother is down there in Texas who loves her grandson more than life.
Right.
And has custody in Texas if he ever goes back.
Yeah.
But that's not how it should be. I mean, I can give you example after example of all the women and grandparents that are fighting for their grandchildren here in Oklahoma. It's just not right.
Right.
And that's why we're working for the bill to come through. That we have one rep that's supposed to be writing it, but with everything that's going on, we're kind of on the back burner.
Well, tell them to contact us in Texas. I mean, we're working on a number of issues as well, but we would be very glad to lend any assistance, because this grandparent issue, it's not just a statewide issue. This is a nationwide issue.
Yes.
It's an issue that I think also should be elevated to a position of national importance.
Yes.
Because of what grandparents can contribute and bring to grandchildren's lives. And also just for the whole family. You might, by having grandparents actively involved, you might even keep families together.
Well, that's true. That's true. You could do that, You could do that. If everybody can find the middle, not where everybody thinks one person's doing everything, but if you have families together and everybody works together, you can make a huge difference. I mean, you can. And I think that's what works so much with my mother's family. They were 13 kids. They never fought, but they'd have probably gotten their heads knocked off, from but because we were allowed to do that back then.
We were allowed to do that back then. Yeah, exactly.
They didn't fight. And as adults, they didn't fight.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very important that you get along and that you understand each other and you work together. It's not one person's job. It's everybody.
Yeah.
And sometimes grandparents are told, I know I've been told this before, you will not ever spank my child. Well, I don't look at it that way. You come after me screaming and yelling, you're going to get grounded, you're going to get punished, you're going to go in the corner, you're going to do something.
Right.
You've got to give everybody a right to discipline children, no matter what they do.
Right.
And that's what keeps it together.
Well, I know when I was growing up, the neighbor might be able to discipline you if you're not careful.
Well, they did. When I was at friends' house, my friends' mothers, if they didn't like what we were doing, we all got sent home.
Yeah.
And then they called our parents.
And then they called the parents, I know.
So we got in trouble over there.
Yeah.
We got in trouble at home. And that's how it should be in life.
Yeah.
All the time. Because if you work together, like our parents, you see, it's hard for my son to understand, but none of my friends come from divorced families.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah.
And it's because of grandparents. It's because families and neighbors, we all stuck together.
Yeah.
We didn't go against our children.
Right.
We didn't go against our neighbors.
Yeah.
We all were taught the exact same thing, and
Yeah.
that's what's important.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, again, the first time I tried smoking, and I didn't, I didn't really want to. I was a little bit afraid of it, but somebody took me, said, well, come on, we're going to try some smoking. And I was kind of like, didn't want to do it really. Before I got home, a neighbor had already told my parents, and I walked inside and they said, well, we heard you were in the bushes over here. And by the way, that's the bushes that people go to try smoking. Like, how do they know? And,
They know everything.
Yeah, neighbors, grandparents, everything. They can provide that sense of keeping, because we're talking about keeping children on track. Now, for me, it was smoking a cigarette, which I didn't like to begin with, didn't want to do. But imagine if it's going out, whether it's trying some type of drugs. I mean, it's smoking, and it's no big deal today.
No.
For me, it was back then. But now, and you've got things with fentanyl that are laced with fentanyl. I mean, by eliminating a grandparent out of a child's life, you may be enabling that child to die at his own hand.
That's true.
Because of some type of overdose or criminal gang activity or whatever.
Well, we grew up in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
So we are very aware.
Yeah.
No matter what anybody thinks about us, we're very aware of drugs.
Yeah.
We're very aware of what drugs will do. It's not just because we didn't do them, which a lot of my friends did. I wasn't one of them that did. But it doesn't matter. I smoked pot.
Yeah.
I tried it. But we know what consequences are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And today, it's just like everybody's too busy to care about what the consequences are. Well, grandparents, at least with me, I'm home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not home and you're not around, boy, I'm going to catch that child.
Yeah.
I tell you. My son never got away with anything.
Yeah.
He never got away with anything.
Yeah.
He'd always, in fact, he ran away one time down to Austin, Texas at 17. And we took off after him immediately. And he went into a hotel bathroom, of all things. And when he came out, I was standing outside the door. He said,
How did you
find me? Because we had support.
Right.
My mother was living with us at the time. We had people from the church.
Yeah.
We had support. We had people finding him. And it was a miracle.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's support. That's the whole point of family, is support.
Yeah.